Now I'm going to ask you to take a moment to settle yourself. Whether that means you're sitting and relaxing in a comfy chair, resting on a cushion, or finding a place where you can pause without distraction. If you're comfortable, close your eyes if it helps you to focus, or rest them on a point in your room where you're sitting. Begin to take a slow and deep breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. As you breathe, try to tune out the noise and the busyness of your day. Let each exhale carry away any tension in your shoulders, neck, or jaw, and let each inhale bring a sense of calmness and openness. In this quiet space, hear the words of Ecclesiastes 3:1-4. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. I want you to take a moment and reflect on these words, because the writer of Ecclesiastes recognized that life doesn't stay in one place forever. We move through various seasons of life, various times of celebration, and times of sorrow, and times of productivity, and times of rest, and times of searching, and times of finding. Reflect on these words and ask yourself, what season resonates with you right now? What season are you in? Are you in a season of growth, like a seed starting to spread out in the spring? Or maybe you're in a season of letting go. Or maybe you're in a season of grief. Acknowledging each season that you are in, even if it feels challenging, is so important. And as you breathe in and as you breathe out, try to notice any feelings that surface when you think about the season you're in right now. You might sense gratitude or relief or anxiety or even a little bit of restlessness. Allow these feelings be present with you instead of pushing them away or trying to fix them. Observe them. Sometimes the act of recognizing your emotions can bring a surprising sense of peace or clarity. Another verse I want to share with you is Psalm 139:13-16. For it was you who formed my inward parts, O God. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works that I know very well. My frame was not hidden from you. When I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth, your eyes beheld my uniform substance. In your book were written all the days that were formed for me, when none of them as yet existed. What I read in these verses is that God is painting a picture of each and every one of us. God knows us very well, every cell, every moment, every hidden part of our story. Before you took your first breath, you were already held in divine awareness. Let that sink in for a few moments, right? You're not an accident. You're not an afterthought. You are not made incomplete. You are fully complete, made fearfully and wonderfully in the eyes of God. God who guided you through the joys and the struggles of the past. God who remains with you this very moment. God who is fully aware of what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and what you are longing for. These two verses remind us that life is being made up of shifting seasons, and it reminds us that we are lovingly known through every season that we experience. Even when life feels unpredictable, even when the path isn't clear ahead, even when we feel like we can't rest in the knowledge that we are God's beloved. Take a few deep breaths and let that awareness fill you with reassurance. Because the unknown is still going to be unknown, but you don't have to go about life alone. Now I'm going to ask you to gently place your hand over your heart. Notice the rise and the fall of your chest. Notice the beat of your heart. Notice the warmth beneath your palm. This can remind us of our own sacredness, the truth that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, the truth that you are made in the eyes of God. Feel that heart. Let yourself feel the gratitude, not just for the milestones that you have experienced in the past, but the ones that will connect you to life, love, and growth. Reflect on that personal transition that you have made in your life from one season to another. Maybe you, in the past, changed jobs or moved homes or started or ended a relationship. Maybe you stepped into a new chapter of personal growth. Think about those transitions as seasons. They all have their own challenges. They all have their own blessings. Think about them and then ask yourself, what does God want me to learn in this season in my life right now? You might not receive a clear answer, and that's okay. Because sometimes pointing out the question opens our hearts to a deeper insight down the road. And if it feels right for you, form this simple prayer in your mind. Listen to this prayer. God, help me trust the season that I am in right now, and to see your hand at work in your life. Breathe that prayer in as you exhale. Release any tension or resistance that you've been carrying. Let your body relax further into whatever is supporting you right now. Notice the ways that your body is responding to a moment of stillness. Perhaps your shoulders will drop, or your jaw loosens, or you become more aware of the way that your chest expands with each breath. These small shifts are physical reminders of a sense of peace and grounding that is available to you. Even in the midst of life's ups and downs, you don't need a massive change. You don't need a week-long retreat to experience God's presence. Sometimes just a quiet moment by yourself reflecting on your life and the love of God can be enough to feel that God is with you in everyday experiences. Now think about that verse. There's a time to weep and a time to laugh. What needs acknowledgement in your life right now? Perhaps you experienced a loss that you haven't fully grieved, or a joy that you haven't fully celebrated. You know, we tend to rush past both sorrow and joy in our quest to keep life moving, but pausing to honoring them can be healing. Maybe you need to give yourself permission to mourn, or perhaps it's time to let yourself be happy without feeling guilty. Listen to what your heart is telling you. It might be a time to let a tear fall, or maybe a smile come through. As you rest in this space of gentle awareness, remember Psalm 139's assurance that God sees you fully. God sees you fully, even in the midst of a world that can feel isolating or impersonal. God can see you fully, even when you realize that you may be unknown to others, but God knows your very breath. God knows your every hidden dream. God knows what is woven into the tapestry of your being. God recognizes you as the one whom God truly loves. Spend another few breaths embracing this moment that we are experiencing right now. As your mind starts to wander, maybe I'm talking a little too long, Don't think about tomorrow's obligations. Just acknowledge the thoughts that are in present with you now. Listen to the biblical words that you have been reflecting on. Have that awareness of the space around you, the lights, the device you're watching this on. Eliminate distractions and anxiety. Begin to experience the fullness of God. Now, as we are coming to an end, just wiggle your fingers or wiggle your toes. Bring everything back into focus. Reflect as you are more settled, as you are more aware, or as you are more curious about what is happening next. Whatever you are experiencing is valid. Whatever you are experiencing is right. And remember, each new season brings its own lessons. And through them all, you are known by God. God who has formed you. God who promises you that even though change is inevitable, that no matter what change occurs, we are never outside the loving gaze of our Creator. Take comfort in the truth as you continue your journey today and beyond. Amen.